July 17th, 2017. Well, it's raining, a girl grumbled while looking blankly at the sky, which was now filled with black clouds. The girl was forced to walk on tiptoe, which made almost all of her feet feel very sore, not like today's girls who walk on tiptoe because they are afraid that their branded shoes will get wet and dirty from the rain if the girl walks on tiptoe to minimize the entry of water through her shoes, which already have holes the size of rambutan seeds on the top. If she looks blankly at the sky again, she starts to complain in her heart. Tomorrow there is a short story reading exam and all students must wear complete Tibet, while she has definitely violated because she is not wearing shoes because she only has one shoe, which is the one she is wearing today. The rain is getting heavier. If she immediately rushes to find a shady place, her eyes glanced at the bus stop, which was quite quiet to stop by, so she stepped towards the bus stop. When she arrived at the bus stop, she took off her shoes and socks. When she took off her socks and shoes, water came out quite heavily due to the absorption of water by the fabric of her shoes, which was too many. If opening his jacket then blowing it, trying to make the jacket at least dry. Tomorrow is a short story reading exam and he must be ready with all his clothes today. If the one who is busy with his activities without realizing it, turns out that someone came and also took shelter at the bus stop is very like sick high's condition. The person is also soaked. If he wants to take a book in his bag to decorate his jacket so that it dries, when he turns, his gaze immediately falls on the man who just arrived. If he smiles dumbly, then immediately takes his book and begs for his jacket. Occasionally, if he says a mantra in his heart, hopefully it will dry quickly. Svaha Sva, the man who just arrived, sitting still with a headset attached to his ear. July 18th, 2017. If in romance novels when I was in that position I would be given a jacket so that I wouldn't get cold, but if in the real world I was the one who was given motivation. If I gave a pause in his explanation of the short story, namely the gaze of all eyes in class 11 IPA 1 fell on, if who is currently wearing wet shoes with half-dry clothes. If continuing, the man who was at the bus stop at that time turned out to be Miko, my elementary school friend who I hadn't seen for 5 years. After the rain stopped, we finally walked home together. July 17th, 2017. If walking accompanied by Miko beside him and accompanied by raindrops falling from above his head. Nico smiled, obligatory Jujuan. If he furrowed his eyebrows, it was a sign that he didn't understand. Really, when did I hate the rain? Join in laughing crisply, tucked in with dimples that were quite attached to his cheeks. When he was in elementary school. January 1st. You always shouted how much rain. I'm annoyed with God doesn't love me. Why is it raining? My shoes are language. If you stare at him, I swear for what I'm like that. Miko nodded, brushing, laughing softly. I still don't like the rain a little bit. Miko didn't ask, he already knew for sure. If in order to make his story come true, because the rain makes my shoes wet, makes my clothes wet, and I do and feel lucky if it rains. Miko smiled, it means that the rain is now hurting, right? I mean, the rain can hurt because of your words, because his presence you don't lift means let him be willing to throw himself and feel pain because his body bounces because an asphalt, but he is willing to do that because of what? Because he realizes without him wild plants and plants that are not cared for will dry out. That's why I'm here to explain to you that something you consider useless turns out to be very useful for others. If you nod slowly, then his beady eyes stare at Miko. If you think about it in circles, it's really true. If it rains, there are no plants dying. If plants die, there is no oxygen. There is no oxygen, we all die, right? Miko nods slowly. Yes, yes. And you failed to kiss Jean again, right? If you smile meaningfully, thank God now it's raining, plants can get water. Nico looks at the road that is already wet because it was hit by rain earlier. Makoto also deliberately sees how a snail that is rarely seen walks on the watery road, a sparrow that puts its beak in the floating rainwater, and the grandfather who sells raincoats today. His goods are selling well. Everything that happens has a meaning.